Washington team here before we go to our 4 days, and that's the Washington Redskins. The Washington Redskins today released Mason Foster.
Boom! Mind blown. And Steven, maybe you got something on this that we don't know, but why? Right the day 2 days before camp starts, they just say bye, Felicia.
I mean, it's interesting. You know, the Redskins have always been one of those camps that, or at least up in the last year, from our experience, you know, it's all, I would say drama, but there's always been some type of element going on. Like the year before,
there's been a little pot stirring.
Yeah, a little pot stirring. You know, Geis got hurt last year. There was always just something going on. There was the fight last year. Now, we start the camp off with the releasing of Mason Foster, who's one of your veteran guys. But I kind of posed this question to you before we came on the air. Do you think they got rid of Mason Foster to try to find a way to bring Trent Williams back into the fold and make him happy?
It's the only thing that I can wrap my head around because, you know, Hamilton stepped up good when Preston Brown got benched last year. So there's that aspect there. My only problem with it is when you run a 3-4 scheme, your middle linebackers most of the time are required to drop back in coverage.
Right.
Mason Foster he had 2 picks last year. He was second on the team in interceptions.
Right.
You know, you go back to Tampa, he was in his time there, he was the leader in returned interceptions for touchdowns. The man's great in coverage. Where's your coverage going to be? That's the thing.
I'm intrigued by it. You know, when we went to OTAs, it seems like forever ago now, but it was about 2 months ago, you know, got a chance to talk to Mason, and I asked him, I said, Mason, what have you done this offseason to get yourself prepped for the season? And Mason said, you know, I've lost some weight. I went on a diet that, you know, like his sister had like set him up with a diet. He looked thinner. He looked quicker. So I'm really surprised by this move because I really thought that, you know, after all the stuff that happened with him last year with the, you know, the whole team thing and, you know, the fans don't love the team and, you know, when he had that whole Instagram thing, I felt like that Mason would have an opportunity. You know, he's actually, in my opinion, done a good job of rebuilding his, you know, maybe his rapport, at least from the outside.
Right.
But maybe that wasn't the case, Jay.
But you know where I think he might end up now that he's right down the street.
Baltimore.
They need middle linebackers.
You know, Baltimore could be a really nice spot for him. You know, that defense, even when they kind of like, I don't want to say crumble, but every time they start pulling from that defense, like, you know, Green Bay took the Zadarius Smith and, you know, guys like that, they lost people like that, but they always find ways to, you know, they draft well and they find ways to make that defense good again.
But, you know, Suggs retired. They got some very good pass rushers to put on the outside, but their inside linebackers are still suspect. And, I mean, it's the same scheme. They just go up there.
Well, they lost now Mosley. Mosley's outside or inside?
Inside.
Inside. So losing Mosley is a pretty big deal. But they just signed him for $6 trillion, which we'll talk about in just a second. With that all being said, I think that the Redskins, it's going to be interesting, Jay. We're heading up to, me and Jay will be at Redskin training camp tomorrow. Even though it doesn't officially open to the public till Thursday, me and Jay are heading up there tomorrow to do press conference with Jay Gruden. So we'll be up there tomorrow around 3. We'll post that video when we get it. But that's going to happen tomorrow. So I'm very interested to see how, you know, Jay Gruden reacts to everything that's gone today, especially with Foster, the deal with Trent Williams, so we can get a little bit of an insight on what's going on there. But this Redskins situation continues to get interesting as we go into camp. You know, Geis is still in a situation where it's like, oh man, what's next for Geis? But we'll see.
Well, and then I saw a thing about, you know, AP having financial problems.
Yeah, where did that come from?
$100 million.
Yeah, man, that's rough.
You broke. I'm sorry, sir. Say that one more time.
I mean, and look, you know, I'm not one to make fun of anybody or, you know what I'm saying, like somebody's financial situation, but it's surprising. But there's a lot of things that happen there. You always hear people say that, you know, it's very important that you find a way to handle your money right. Because you get that money, man. Oh, man, I got $100 million. I got this money. And it's easy to spend. And they also said that they said that some of his lawyers and stuff were taking him, you know, for a spin around, and he got, you know, people stole money from him. And that's just sad, man. Like,
it's very sad.
You can't trust people with the money. And I mean, that's just, it's crazy, man. It's just really crazy. It's crazy.
It is. It's very nuts. Yeah, especially, you know, looking, you know, we were talking about Geis. He's got hamstring problems.
Right.
You know, is he going to be able to be the force that we hoped he could be? And, you know, I was looking at rushing yards earlier when I was getting ready. besides AP, everybody else kind of really sucked rushing it. Catching out the backfield is no problem.
Right.
So, maybe that Bryce Love grab there at the end of the draft wasn't a bad idea.
Hey, that Bryce Love pick is looking pretty astute right now.
They do have to have a healthy year this year back up, but they did a lot of firing with inside.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully they can, because I think they had 60-some on the IR.
Yeah. I never seen anything like it. They can't lead the league in injuries again this year. All right, everybody, now.